The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. It is Jimbo Fisher. I guess that is as explosive as the start the Aggies had in the win over UAB last Saturday.
That's a good point. That was like that opening kickoff, wasn't it?
Can you draw it up any better
No.
than Larry Pryor scoring on that fumble recovery?
Brian made a great play and hit the guy out ball, made it come out, and he did a heck of a job making that play. And that's the first time I can ever think I've been a part of a team that scored a touchdown on the opening kick. Now, not returning. I've returned one. We did one this year, obviously. That's twice we scored on the first play of the game. Returning one and kicking one. I bet another team in the country hadn't done that.
No, I don't think so.
I bet they have done it both ways. But
right.
It was dynamic and a great start.
Yeah, Jay Sean did it in Arlington against Arkansas. And, time and again, when we get a chance to talk, you say fast start. You can't get any faster than that one.
Start fast, get out of the blocks. That's a good thing there.
You got tested by that UAB team. They showed why they're number 25 in the country. And I know, Coach, that there are some teams that they play the games in November and they're like off weeks for them. You know what I mean when I say that. But that wasn't the case against UAB. You had to be sharp against the Blazers.
No, we had to be, and we knew this. And they were 9-1, ranked 25th in the country. And you don't win 9 games and not have confidence and think you're going to go win and play. I mean, every time you play, you're going to win a game. And they played some good opponents. They had 35 seniors, I believe it was. 35 seniors. So those guys, you're not getting intimidated. They know they've played a lot of football, junior college ball against great players. They played in ball in their league against great players. So they were going to come in there ready to go, and we knew that. And, of course, they obviously did. They took here's what's interesting. It tells you how good a team they are. To start like that on the road in a big environment, and Kyle Field can get as nasty as anywhere. To come back, get the ball, and drive right down and score and tie it up, that took a heck of a lot of resolve there to come back and do that. And we played a great game. I was proud in the game. I thought special teams were outstanding. Yeah. I mean, they controlled the game. We scored like there, blocked a field goal, blocked a PAT. They missed some field goals. We returned a punt. It should have set up a score. The only thing we did wrong in the kicking game was miss the field goal right before half. And that set up that score. We had a great kickoff that set up another drive. We punted the ball outstanding. We only punted twice in the game. But one was a 60-yarder, and I think they got a 2-yard return. Yeah. And then the other one, he had a wedge shot on about the 2 that he spun it back and set it on the 5 like those golfers do. You know what I mean? And we pinned them back. And in our kickoff coverage, we kicked it out, or the longest return out, they got to the 13-yard line. So we controlled field position. Outstanding day there. Defensively, they threw the ball on us, and we did not do a good job. We were one of the top teams in the country in third down defense, and they rattled us on third down. They kept getting on the field, and that's why if you go look at the game, we only had 54 plays in the game and still had 448 yards or 50 yards and almost 40 points in 54 plays, which is hard to do. But it's usually the flip to that. Yeah. We control the clock, we control the game, and they did that, and they did a great job. But then we bent, but we didn't break. And we did a good job in the red zone, not giving up touchdowns. Then we got those blocked field goals. Then the second half, we did a good job, and we got to 2 turnovers, which were very critical in the game. And offensively, I thought we ran the ball really well. I thought Kellen was really sharp in the game. I mean, his throws, he was accurate. Jace was good. We were good on third down. We ran the football. And like I say, we only had the ball 54 plays but scored 40 points. Yeah. We were very effective driving the football, and it was a good game. And we needed to play a good game because it was important in coming off another win and getting ready for LSU because this is going to be they're really good.
That is what we will talk about when we come back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. But everybody here at Rudy's, first time in Aggie Land, her 21st birthday, Rebecca Fahey. Welcome. Glad that you are here. Very glad that you are here. We will continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. A reminder that Texas Farm Bureau Insurance invites you to visit 12thman.com/maroon contest. Register for your chance to hang out on Kyle Field with the Yell Leaders at the next home game. Winners get photo ops, game tickets, pregame hospitality, and the chance to get a pregame tour of Kyle Field. Register today at 12thman.com/maroon contest. Come on back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, rolls on along the Aggie Radio Network on Facebook Live, on Twitter at Aggie Football, and we are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. AT&T is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. More for your thing, that is our thing. As we continue with head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, I can't help but think that we started this in September.
Wow.
Started with the win over Northwestern State.
It's still September, right?
You couldn't wait for the season to start, and here we are. It's LSU week already. But how has this team grown throughout this year, and has it grown the way you wanted it to?
You know, it has in a lot of areas, and here's what I say. It's competitive nature. It's ability to deal with adversity. It's toughness and physicality, and everything is that. Well, we have to continue to grow is in our skill levels, and what I'm saying is not what we do, but how well we do it. I mean, just exactly perfect every time. The alignments, our skill level physically and psychologically of doing everything right perfectly. And that's where you find those inches. And I say, you always hear me say, pick up the crumbs and find the inches. The little things that matter and you add up when you play great big teams, and understand how to deal with that at the biggest moments when you have to do it. And that's when the practice habits you get. And that's the other thing. Our practice habits have gotten so much better. And understanding how important preparation is and how to prepare to play. And we're still in the growth process. Yeah. We really are. We're still growing to understand that. But I love where they're at, and hopefully it's time that we can start seeing some of the rewards of that. But we definitely are much better football. I mean, in some of the statistical things, we're leading the league. And we're tops in the country in different special teams. Defense, we're one of only, I think, 5 or 6 teams that's in the top 25 offense and defense in the country. Mm-hmm. I mean, on both sides. But there's still some little things. We were talking about that today. Our third down percentage on offense has got to go up. On defense, we've got to find a way to not give up so many big plays and create more turnovers. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some things that we're outstanding on. There's some things that are leaving that little hole where those little losses are. But that's part of, we get here. We can't fix everything overnight. And the kids got some learned behaviors of how to really think dominant, play dominant, and want to be dominant.
You talk about things that rub off over the course of working this season together, being dominant. Who's he always bring up? Michael Jordan, right? My room number in Vancouver, 2323. I kid you not. Jimbo's got
nobody more dominant.
Nobody.
Well, I mean, and you think about it. I always talk about Jordan. I always talk about Tom Brady. Look at Drew Brees. I mean, the guy got better at 42 years old. Them guys are getting better and better. Yeah. But you just don't play at that level unless you have a mentality and a personality that so dominant and wanting to be so great. Mm-hmm. And that is a learned. I mean, you have some inner traits, but that's a learned behavior when you start to have success and understand how to do that.
You get the turnovers. I'm amazed at how successful the team has been by having the turnover margin that it did, but how big was it to get those turnovers against UAB?
I mean, they change the game. I mean, today's time, turnovers and big plays affect the game more than anything. Then you get into penalties, third down, red zone, all that. But being able to create turnovers, not have them, and to be able to create big plays and not give up big plays, that affects the game as much as anything in football today because it's such an explosive game and you have so many explosive people on the field.
It was nice to see a couple of seniors get the interceptions, too, on senior
night.
It
was perfect.
Wasn't it?
It was Lefty got one and Dono got one, and, I mean, it was awesome.
It was terrific. This is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We will continue here from Rudy's. Football and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. We'll continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. When we return, this is Aggie Football from Learfield. Hey kids, you can be the future of the 12th man. Join the Junior Aggie Club today. Members of the official kids club of Texas A&M Athletics are 12 years of age and younger. Join the Junior Aggie Club today to receive free admission to Aggie athletic events throughout the year, plus exclusive access and experiences. Group, sibling, and 12th man foundation discounts are available. Visit junioraggieclub.com and join today. I don't know if I'm going to get the name right, but Mark
scary.
Mueller or Mark Muller, I'm not sure. He's got on Facebook, beat the hell out of LSU, eat the hell out of turkey for Thanksgiving tomorrow. It reminded me, is your week a little bit different in preparation for LSU? Like, how do you handle tomorrow as a team?
No, it's the only day we'll change. We'll practice at 1 instead of 3:30. And then afterwards, we'll have a team dinner. Now, tonight, each individual position group goes to their coaches' houses, and they have festivities, and they have a full meal, and they eat tonight, and we give them 2 meals. Nice. And then tomorrow, afterwards, we'll eat as a team, as a family. Then give them the evening off for what we got to do, and we'll get out of there. We move practice up a couple hours.
I think I've seen some of the defense and the defensive linemen now. There's some good food in those trays. Yeah. Some really good food. But that's important, Jimbo. Is that also part of the growth and the bonding and having that time
just
together?
Being together and understanding how much we do have to be thankful for, and we're all in this together, and it's one big happy family, and that's all part of it.
The other tradition that we have kind of started, we have started and we continue, is a question from Ian Curtis. We caught it last. There he is. Jimbo, as a head coach, how do you stay focused and keep a clear head during games?
You know, it's just what you do, and you've done it for so long, and it's so natural to be able to. You got a procedure. You got a process in what you're going through, but I'll say this: each and every time it is challenging because different occurrences happen during a game. Things that affect the game in so many different ways, and things that you thought to go well don't go well. Then you can't. But it's on. You got to be able to think on your feet, and you got to have answers. And the big thing is to plan, to be organized, have structure, and have plans. If this goes down, you go to this. If this goes down, you go to that. People don't understand. We have plans for plans for plans. I mean, sometimes they never come. You never know, but you got to be prepared. Just like I always say. People say it's not a problem until it's a problem. Sometimes, you say, well, we got by with that. Well, you can't let that happen. And then that's the thing about, and I don't care what you do in a game. Like, for instance, we do 2-minute situations every Thursday. We go through all the scenarios. It's a live clock, good on good, and we're going. I've done it for 30 years. Ultimately, at least one of every 2 times it happens, something happens that wasn't exactly like it's ever happened in 30 years. I mean, you constantly got to have conceptually what you want to do, how you want to do it, and have a plan for a plan for a plan. And then sometimes you just got to think on your feet, and you got to be able to adjust. And so don't players. That's the thing about sports, I think, why we love it so much. We don't know.
Correct.
It's not, everybody says, well, that should happen, that should happen. If it happened just like you thought, you'd quit coming. If it happened just like you thought, everybody would quit coming. It wouldn't be any fun.
You know the outcome already, right?
You do. I'm serious. I think that's what makes it, because the human nature of it, the physicality of it, the psychological disposition of it, the injuries of different people, the weather, it can be anything. It can be somebody's girlfriend at home. They're mad about something. They don't play good that week. He's thinking about something else, or something happened in the family. I joke, but you have no idea how many things we deal with college kids at 18 to 22 that can affect the way they play. And so many different things. But again, that's part of coaching. But you know what it is? That's life. Yeah. You can't stop going to work every day. You can't. It's no different. It's just you get to watch me do my job. I don't get to come to your work.
So in a case of last Saturday, UAB, you're a schedule guy. Do you feel like, as much as you can control, do you feel like you're in control at 6 o'clock at kickoff time?
Heck no. You feel you want to say you do. And you got a plan for everything. But listen, I'm smart. I've been around this long enough. Anything can happen, and how you manage it and what can happen, and you got to play the next thing. And that's why you say it all the time. And there's a procedure and a thought process of which you have to be very methodical and very disciplined about how you go about what you do. And then you got to have, I say, 80% of it goes scripted. And then what the next 20% is that gray area. It's like for players, coaches, and everything else that separates them. That 20% that doesn't go just like you, how do you manage that? How do you manage that area of the unknown that happens? And that's the key to it. And have your team ready to do it.
Ian, thank you. Every week you've led great discussions, and I appreciate all those questions.
I think he's about 32 years old.
he might be, and I think he's next in line, Jimbo. We will continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, here in College Station. Come on back. This is Aggie football from Learfield. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit, and we are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road. We told you we're going to have a little bit of a surprise, and here today is Mike Guidry. He's the president, Texas A&M Military Flag Initiative. Oh, wow. It's a nonprofit assisting veterans, the Guard and Reserve. Jimbo, a signed Aggie flag has flown on F-35A, FA-18 Hornet with Commander Doyle, Aggie lead pilot, and B-1B Lancer bomber. It also flew on the F-35A during the flyover against Mississippi State. Tonight, we present the 2018 Texas A&M football team with 2 frame certificates, F-35A with certificate of flight, model, patch, and photo. Mike, is that correct? The only female F-35A pilot?
Only female F-35A pilot in the world. In fact, she's
wow.
going to teach our brothers and sisters with the Israeli Air Defense as well. So
is that right? Wow.
That's pretty cool. And the
unbelievable.
Blue Angels with certificate of flight, model, and photo with Commander Doyle. You can find all these photos and these videos on Facebook, Texas A&M Military Flag Initiative.
God bless.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor.
And on top of that, Coach Fisher, we actually have the flag here.
And here's the flag.
Oh, wow.
Now, what I'd like to do, Coach, give you a little bit of good luck. You know, I know we haven't beat LSU since we entered the SEC.
We were going to get to that.
Hopefully, this is going to add a little bit more morale. The
I'll
morale
take
that you provide to the troops that have flown this flag so far. Take this flag with you proudly as you go out there in the field of Kyle Field. And we will want this back because there's several of the Aggies downrange that want to fly this still.
I'll be honored to. I'll be honored.
Okay?
Thank you very much. God bless you. Hey, God bless all y'all for what you do for our country. All right.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Photo. Yeah.
And again, the entire flag is signed by the entire team.
The Aggies have signed this flag. Yep. The entire team
yeah, we did.
has signed this flag. How awesome is that? Nobody else's show is doing this, I'm telling you.
Got him. There we go. God bless you.
Mike,
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. You
bet.
bet.
That is awesome.
Again, find all the photos, videos on Facebook, Texas A&M Military Flag Initiative. As I say that, Mo, I need to get the name. He's in Qatar. He's in Doha, Qatar, watching here on Mo Sharif, Doha, Qatar. Saying, beat the hell out of LSU, Jimbo. The connection, this being my first season, so there are a lot of things that have given me chills. Kyle Field swaying is one. I love the flyovers, Jimbo. I'm not going to lie.
They're awesome.
They take my breath away.
They are. They're awesome, and they have the skill. If we can be as skilled as they are, then we'll get to where we want to go. Those guys are so talented and so gifted, and God bless them for what they do. Like I say, this freedom in our country is not free. There's a lot of people do some phenomenal things and sacrifices for us to do it, and God bless them, and it's a great honor to be a part of it.
Senior night, military appreciation night last Saturday, and I'm not sure it's more appreciated than anywhere but Kyle Field. That made that. And those seniors, Jimbo, I know you've only been around them a year, and I heard you say something that you wish you had more time with them. I think it says an awful lot about that group.
It does. And, I mean, listen, you've done something for 3 or 4 years, and you're going to your last year, and all of a sudden it changes. Everything in your world changes. You can be bitter. You could not buy in. There's a lot of things you can do. Those guys didn't. They were just exactly the opposite. And that's why we've had the success and the buy-in we've had so quick. Those seniors have bought in. And some of them are having some of the best years of their life right now. I mean, those guys are playing their tails off. They're a huge part of our success. And the turnaround and the whole attitude of our football team.
They have embraced that they want to lay the foundation for future players, and you can see it in those habits, can't you?
They do. And they're laying it. I mean, the sacrifices they're making right now.
We will come back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road. Come on back. This is Aggie football from Learfield. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit, together, we're better. As we continue from Rudy's, the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit rolls on, along with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. I am Andrew Monaco, and man, it's a heck of a game on Saturday, and I think that's an understatement from me. But will this be the best defense that you will face all year, Jimbo?
Yeah, I mean, it's arguably one of the. I mean, we faced so many.
Yeah,
I mean, you go from Alabama to Auburn to Mississippi State to Clemson. I mean, we faced the top of them. That's why I'm so proud of what we've been able to do on offense, because the quality people. Even UAB was ranked in 6 categories in the top 5 in the country. So it's been another great challenge. This team is very dynamic. They're big and physical up front, athletic on the edge, and their back 7 are so skilled. I mean, there's 3 or 4 first-round draft picks in there, and I mean, they're really good.
That's what I think is really interesting, and does it favor, when I say does it favor A&M, that you've seen those other dynamic defenses throughout the year and facing this one now?
One thing about this league, listen, I mean, no matter how you say this team is really good, then you say, okay, well, I'm by them. You look, well, that team's the same. That team's the same, especially the West. I mean, and the defensive lines and the people we faced and the secondary guys, it's what you play every week. So you get used to it. You know what I'm saying? And now, it doesn't mean you always like it,
right?
But you get used to playing those great players. So for our guys, they know the level you have to play at.
Your offensive line last week against UAB, they came in leading the nation in sacks, only 1 last week. And again, the offensive line is always something that you focus on. It drives the running game. It drives the protection of Kellen. It seems like that offensive line keeps getting better week after week.
Oh, it does. There's only 1 senior in it. That's 78 Sutherland, and the rest of them are sophomores. A lot of sophomores. I mean, juniors and Eric McCoy, but a lot of sophomores in that group, and they're getting better and better each week. And the physicality, I mean, we're throwing it for 260 a game, we're running it for 200 a game, so they're working both sides of it.
The back to LSU, 16 interceptions. They're a +10, I believe, in turnover margin. They feast on that, don't they?
Their ball skills are tremendous. I mean, they have tremendous ball skill guys. And I always say this: the best DBs, people say guys that can knock balls away and can't catch, play defense. No. The best DBs are really offensive players playing defense, because they have tremendous ball skills and they can change the game when the ball's in the air. And that's what they do, whether it's the linebackers or their secondary.
What is it like going up against the guys that you were trying to recruit to play for you, right? You're real familiar, because you've been trying to get them to play for you, haven't you?
You know, it's funny, though. When you get to the levels that we were playing at, for instance, when I was at Florida State, West and Alabama were the 2 winningest teams in the country for about 7 years. It's funny, we were getting them, they were getting them, or they go to Clemson. You're recruiting the same group of guys that make those elite players, and you get some, you lose some, and some of them you wish would go to Hong Kong because you don't have to play against them. But some of them you have to play against. You know what I mean? You have to. They got to end up playing against you.
It seems like another theme all season long has been places where you have been and familiar. And for LSU, you helped set a winning tone in part of that coaching staff and the national championship. And really, when you were there, LSU was the tops, and they've continued that tradition. They've had a great football tradition.
For the last 18, 20 years now. I mean, they had great tradition, and they had a couple tough times, and we came in and we were able to have a lot of success, won a national championship, a bunch of SEC titles, a bunch of drafted players. And, since then, in the last 20 years, they've had as many NFL players as anybody in the country. I mean, talent-wise, they're phenomenal. They have great players, and they got great facilities, a great program, great fan base. I mean, at Tiger Stadium is a great place to play, and, and I'm not bright. It's a unique place. Yeah. They're very good for a reason, and they're having success for a reason. They have everything you need to have there to have a successful program. They're being coached well now, and that's why I say I look at those numbers, and I put the old guys in there that I coach, and I'm looking at the film, and I say, that looks like it's a different name, but it looks just like him. That guy went and made about $50 million. This guy, I said, so it kind of makes you realize they look the same.
And you were talking, I know on Monday you were going through the names of the guys, and I guess they were kind of joking. The media was joking with you about knowing all the names, but is that connection, right? You've had that connection with those guys. They're unforgettable for coaches.
When you recruit them and you coach them and you go through how much we go through, the stress, the strains, the trials, the tribulations, them growing up, winning football games on the road, you're so close with those kids. I mean, you're with them. There's not a day you're not with them, you don't see them. They're like your own kids. They really are. And then sometimes you're in a pivotal part of their life, and how many different times and things are going on in their life at that time. They say, Coach, man, you got a minute? You got a minute, you got a minute, you got a minute. And you remember all those things. Right. And those kids, you can't forget them. And you're so happy because you kind of follow them as much as you can. How's he doing? How's his family doing? I know he's done playing ball. Has he got a good job now? Is he being successful? You follow them just like as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and you've mentioned time and again, you do spend more time with them than sometimes with your family over the course of a season.
Yes.
Yeah. And because it's so indelible, I would think even if they're not playing NFL, if they are successful family, whatever, that's got to be so proud for a coach.
It's the same traits you take to be successful on the field and honest as a student and as a person. If you apply those same things to being a dad, being a husband, doing the job you got, it's the same thing. It's the same. Listen, there is no secret to this world. It's hard work. It's having the plans, being able to deal with that gray area. When something doesn't go right, how can I figure it out? That's one thing about athletics. You know, some people can walk away from stuff. When you're in athletics and you're in front of about 100,000 people and 20 million are watching you on TV and it doesn't go right, you better figure it out real quick. Or you're gonna be a Twitter hero. You know what I mean? You're gonna be a Twitter hero if you're not real quick. So, I say that, but if you can do that, then a lot of the things I have in my life, I go back to my athletic background and the things, the pressure situations I've been under, let me revert back to having success or trying to figure it out. I mean, it's the same principles.
Yeah.
It's the same. And they say, oh, Coach, that's cliche stuff. You build them for life. But no, it isn't.
Right.
If you can do these things, you'll be successful. Apply the same principles.
Did having the positive effect, was that something that you learned getting into coaching? You get into coaching because you want to do certain, and then you realize, look at the positive effect I've had for so many players. Was that something you learned to appreciate also?
You do. And I'm going to tell you what, at the time, they don't always appreciate it sometimes. Because, like I tell you, when you're a coach or you're a father or you're somebody who cares about something, like I tell them all the time, if I tell you everything you want to hear, I don't care about you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. How you got to do it, what you got to do, whether you like it or you don't. Because my job isn't worried about trying to make you the player you are or the person you are. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And sometimes kids don't want to hear that.
Right.
And you're hard on them and you're tough on them. You make them do, like how many times I hate you, Dad. I ain't never doing that, Dad. I mean, why? As I get older, they get smarter. You know what I mean? And still to this day, you figure out why your parents do the things they did, why coaches, sometimes it's not my job to be your friend.
Right.
And I think that's where we make a mistake sometimes. We can be there for them. But a friend, if I'm a good friend, I tell you exactly what's right and what's wrong. And that's how we have to approach it.
That's the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. I'm Andrew Monaco. We will come back to Rudy's and continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Stay with us. This is Aggie Football from Lear. Here's how your Wednesday should go. You tune into Fox Sports Southwest every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Catch the pulse and stay up to date with Texas A&M football. And you can join us as you are today on the Aggie Radio Network, on Facebook Live, on Twitter at Aggie Football. For the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, and we continue with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. I didn't get a chance to see you earlier today. Normally I get Jimbo for Saturday. So I always like to ask you about keys and what needs to happen. Now, I have kept them throughout the year.
They don't change a lot.
No, they really don't, but they're so darn accurate. They're they're dead on. And I love talking with my partner, Dave Elmendorf, on radio because every time you mention something that he mentions, he just gets a big old smile on his face. Like, see, I told you guys. Like the All-American needs to be legitimized. But we talk so much about rivalry games and this and that. But do you boil it down, Jimbo, to what you've talked about all year about win your battle, win that one-on-one
It's an individual battle. At the end of the day, how much emotion and all that, that's great. But at the end of the day, that goes away. Did you prepare to win? Did you practice to win? Do you have the habits to win? Do you have the fortitude to win? Do you have the psychological disposition to win? And can you go out and execute at the biggest and brightest moments in the game? And that's what it gets down to. And can you not get bored and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again? And that's what it gets down to. And you got to train yourself. Those are learned behaviors. Those because everybody wants to win. Everybody wants something. What am I going to do different, and how am I training myself? Because when all that pressure comes, your habits come straight to the surface. Yeah. And what your habits are is what you do daily. That's what we all are. We all have good habits. We have bad habits. I remind myself every day. I mean, I have them. We all do. Right. And you have to train yourself that way to be able to play. And then these big games, at the end of the day, they're a game. It's a football game. Right. How you execute and how you play is going to matter. And you want to win and all that. But at the end of the day, I've hated losing to whoever I play, whether it's my rival or not. Right. And I love winning. So do the same things and execute every play.
Earlier this week, we learned that Braden Mann is one of the Ray Guy Award finalists. You were talking about special teams, and you talk about doing it over and over and over again. He's been as dependable as absolutely anybody.
And that position, as kickers and specialists, I say they're like golfers. You can get bored because you're doing so well and you're by yourself so much. You think, okay, what do I got to do more? I got to do this. I got to do. What's wrong with what you're doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you start to tweak and turn. And how many times do you ever see a golfer? I'm going to tweak I get a little more distance here, getting all of a sudden now, ball's going in. You'll see them golfers will disappear for 6 months. They can't get the swing right. Right. And punters and kickers that can happen so quickly to you as a punter and a kicker. You know what I'm saying? And you develop a bad habit trying to do something else and not get bored doing the same things over and over and over because sports is a game of repetitiveness. But there's different scenarios that go out there, but you can't get bored with being fundamentally sound.
Were you a little surprised? I know we don't do this for awards, but you were a little surprised that Jace was not a finalist for the John Mackey Award at tight end?
Well, I am. Listen, Jace, I can't imagine anybody being any more valuable to the team than Jace has been to ours and what he's meant as a tight end, what he's done blocking, catching, running, everything he does. But at the same time, you remember this, there's a lot of great players out there at a lot of great positions. And do I think Jace is deserving? Without a doubt. But at the same time, I don't want to take away from somebody else because I don't coach those guys. I haven't seen those guys. They're obviously great players too. But if they've done more than Jason, then they need to be there. But that guy's done as much as anybody, I think, anywhere, and he's had a heck of a year, and hopefully he'll continue to play that way.
I think back to the game on Saturday, and Kellen made the throw to Jace. I think it was the second touchdown, and my partner said, this is absolutely unfair. The route that Jace ran and the throw that Kellen made, and more we're watching Kellen make those kind of throws.
He's understanding matchups, and we're able to get matchups, and we got Jace to be able to get matched up on a backer that we thought we had an advantage on at that time by how they were blitzing and got it formation to the boundary and got it. And, he did a great job of that. And I think kids today, and I say this, I don't know how much we study the game. You know what I'm saying? And they run routes. Well, a route is not steps. A route is based off how the defender is, whether you got to speed up, you got to slow down, you got to change direction, the angles. And I think the more they're starting to grasp all the little nuances. That's what I'm talking about as our team. That's where we're going to grow. How I want them and our coaches want them to each individual situation based on what's going on and how it happens, situation of the game, leverage of the game, all those the defenders. And I think that's where you're starting to see us just get better and better and better. And hopefully we'll progress from now to the bowl game and through spring and do on.
Up Saturday, 6:30 will be the kickoff between A&M and LSU. 5:30 is when we get started with the pregame show. We will come back. One more segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Stay with us. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. AT&T is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. More for your thing. That's our thing. Our final segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. And as we wrap things up, first and foremost, thanks. This has been a blast all season long.
Oh, it has been. It's been wonderful. I love this.
I think we have one more before the bowl. I think we're going to schedule that. But and as I say this to everybody here at Rudy's, thank you all season long. You've shown up every week, and it's been terrific. This has been a lot of fun, Coach.
It really has. It's been a blast.
I love the way it's come a chance to meet you, and you've embraced them right back. And it's you told us it was something special here. We knew that, but you told it, and you talked about genuine. You talked about embracing. You've embraced this entire Aggie family.
Well, they've
right
embraced
back.
me too. I mean, the people are wonderful. It's very easy to do that with these great, wonderful people.
Okay, keys to a win on Saturday against LSU.
Well, I think, obviously we got to start fast, and I think, again, play with great physicality in the game on both sides of the ball at the line of scrimmage. And it goes back to what we just talked about. Creating turnovers, not giving turnovers. Creating big plays, not giving them up, and then you go to third down, red zone, and all the kicking game things that we got to do, and we got to be sound in all those things. And it's going to be a heck of a game, and also to have that relentless competitive attitude. Which I said, no matter what's going on, good, bad, and different, you play that next play because you're going to have to grind this one out. Listen, if you get ahead, they're coming back, and if you're behind, you got to lay it on the line and come back at them. And it's going to be a great game. And I think it's a great litmus test to see where we're at right now and the development we made and where we need to go as soon as this game is over with and how we need to progress in the offseason.
You're also a big believer in how do you handle momentum swings, right?
Yeah, I mean, and how you can build on it and keep on it and how you can, not let it crush you and you stop it immediately. And I say minimize the damage and get back and get going.
Certainly hope you have some family. You have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You have a great Thanksgiving.
Absolutely
too. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
That is Jimbo Fisher, the head coach of the Fightin' Texas Aggies. As we continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, it's presented by Capital Farm Credit. Here's what's coming up on Saturday. Once again, our pregame show with Dave Elmendorf and with Will Johnson. They join me. That will be at 5:30 along the Aggie Radio Network. And then we will have the kick at 6:30 between the Fightin' Texas Aggies and the 8th-ranked LSU Tigers. That will be Saturday, and you can catch it all along the Texas A&M Sports Network. This has been the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's. Tony O'Neill is our producer in the Learfield Network studios. My thanks to him all season long. Andrew Kirk, Tyler Fletcher, Taylor Travis, Will Johnson last week, Matt Simon. He's got all the cameras. All the fans here at Rudy's, thank you so much. I'm Andrew Monaco. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. We'll talk to you Saturday. See you on the radio on Saturday. This has been the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. Thanks and gig 'em.